Okay, welcome to this What's on My iPhone video. I wanted to do this video for the longest time, but time is of essence and I'd rather focus on family and on traveling and all this great stuff, but I do find a little bit of time here because in Montreal it is pouring rain or kind of snow, and we are April, I don't even know what we are, April 17th, and it's still very, very wet and very freezing, so I want to record a video for you guys. So I've been asking a number of times what's on my iPhone, especially when I travel. There's a bunch of apps here that I really rely on a daily basis, and my organization has evolved throughout the years. I've tried the iPhone X. I was finding this phone very interesting, but a bit short or a bit small for my hands. So I have big hands, as you can see here, and it's good when you're a photographer or a musician, but when you have a phone, you don't want to feel like if it's too small in your hand. So that's why I went with the iPhone 8 Plus. And if a couple things before we jump into the apps that I use the most, I've been asked multiple times what is my actual case that I use, and this is Rhino Shield. I'm not being paid by them to say that. I really just enjoy their products. Rhino Shield right here, it's just a bumper case. What I like about the bumper case is that you can still see your phone, and as you know, I really like the Apple phones. I think it's a beautiful piece of art, and if you look at the little gray here that I have, I think there's value in showing the beauty of the phone and not covering it up with a plastic case. So that's for the case, and also I wanted to give a special shout out, special mention to my favorite earpods. These are the AirPods from Apple, and these guys are invaluable and they pair very easily with the phone, as you can see right here. So I rely on them on a daily basis for everything from work to traveling, and also they are up for I think 5 or 6 charges with that little case, so cannot recommend them enough. Again, integration very, very easy to install and to use, so that I use on a daily basis. Okay, so enough of the accessories, let's jump into the home screen. So I've changed my home screen quite a bit in the past few weeks, and the first thing that I will mention is that I actually had a trick here to cover the first row. So if you look at these little icons here, these are basically simulating or emulating the background, and that allows me to put that top row empty. I like my phone to be clean, but I also like my phone to be reachable. So I have big hands, but the top row is you know, virtually not reachable when you have an iPhone 8 Plus or any Plus phone from Apple. So I will put the link down below if you want to do the same trick as me. It's fairly easy. You just have to do a screen capture here, and then you set these little icons on your homepage. But again, the description will be in the link down below. So let's go with the apps. If you look at I won't go through every single apps because I'm an app freak, as you can see, but I'll go through the main ones and the one that I rely on a daily basis. So the first one is the phone. Yeah, imagine or not, some people are still calling me and I still call people, but it's not on my dock, as you can see, but it is an important app that I use on a daily basis. Photos, I don't have to go through that. Weather, I used plenty of weather apps, and I'm on Amsterdam because I'm going there in 2 weeks, and as you can see, it's looking very, very good depending on where you live. But for me in Montreal right now, under another winter slash, I don't know what season it is anymore, storm, I really enjoy this app. Again, it's not the best app, but it's enough for me when I want to see what the weather looks like for the next few days. Wallet, I'm a big fan of Wallet. I do use it a lot. If you look at all the cards that I have here, I am a big proponent of not having to leave the home with your actual wallet. I often forget my wallet. If I forget my phone, I will come back, but if I forget only my wallet, I might actually try to do my whole day with just a wallet from the iPhone. Twitter, some people have said that Twitter is dead. I rely on Twitter for mainly 2 things. The first one is my news feed. This is kind of where I get my latest news, but also this is where I interact with you guys when you ask questions about, you know, my YouTube videos or even my podcast, the Brand Experiment podcast. So again, I don't think that Twitter is dead. I think that Twitter has some big changes to make, I think, if they want to, you know, survive, but still really like this app. It used to be my favorite app of all time, but that has evolved since the past few years. YouTube, again, I don't need to go through that app, but I have both the YouTube app, but also the YouTube Studio app, and this is where I get all my stats, and this is where I also interact with you guys when I do videos, and this is where I can see all the comments that you guys are making on my videos. There's one that just popped up here. Really enjoy using this app. If you're a creator and a YouTuber, you should definitely have it on your home screen. LinkedIn, I am in the business of making business, so also have the LinkedIn app always ready to go. I interact a lot through LinkedIn, and I also find my contacts. I sync them so I can prepare if I have a meeting with someone. So there's a neat little feature where you can sync your contact with LinkedIn. Very cool integration. Google Map, and this is kind of my map and transportation little section here. So Google Map, because it's just better. It's just better than any other map. I don't use the Apple map that much. I know there's a nice integration with the watch, but ultimately, if you want to find, you know, what's around and all the local stuff when you travel, and you can sync, that's one of my favorite features, being able to sync the map that you are seeing, so you don't have to use data when you're traveling. I really, oh, look at that, your offline maps are updating. So that's what I was talking about. Really like the Google Map app. Waze, this is my preferred in-car transportation direction app. This is also owned by Google, by the way. If you didn't know, now you know. And Waze is simply better than Google Map for navigating. It knows the traffic ahead. It can actually alert you when to leave the house. And I have my home, my work, my favorites, everything is in there. And I really like the aspect of the community telling you if there's, you know, police officers or speed limits or new changes to the road that are blocks and so on and so forth. Then if you look at Uber, it's a controversial app. Some people like Uber, some people don't like Uber. I use Lyft, I use Uber, I use whatever is easy. Like Gary Vaynerchuk said one time, I think Uber is in the business of giving you back time. So any app that's giving me back time in my day, I will put on my phone. Facebook, I'm debating leaving it or not on my homepage. Yes, just like you, I've read the same thing. I am following Mark Zuckerberg's, at the Senate right now. So I don't know. I'm still relying on Facebook for family communication and a lot of other friend stuff, but I'm not sure it'll stay on my phone for a long time. Then I have my music apps, Stingray Music. This is where I live. This is where I work. Sometimes it feels like I live there, but this is where I work. And we do a very cool app. And we do multiple apps and multiple products. But if you want to lean back music experience, you can go, via vibes, and then you can choose your mood. And there's plenty of playlists in there. And these are not just playlists by algorithm. These are real humans assembling the perfect music for any place, mood, or occasion that you might want to need music. So that's Stingray Music. Spotify's on there also, don't have to go through that. This is my preferred music on-demand app for now. Camera, I really feel that this has come a long way actually. So the camera app, I really like the native one from Apple. I think there is other very cool photo app, but it's just easier. And that portrait mode, I've been playing with that portrait mode a lot. It makes some very cool photograph. So I really entice you to explore that app. Not so for editing, but for taking photos, absolutely. I think this is one of the best ones. And also for time lapse, very efficient. Instagram, I mean, this is the preferred app when it comes to sharing my work. You need to share your work. And when you share your work, some people might like it. Like, thank you so much, Pepscale. I think you like my stuff, and I am so ever thankful for that. Thank you for the likes. But ultimately, again, the Instagram is where I post all my latest photos. So if you want to follow, you just have to go to Fred Ranger on Instagram. So that's Instagram. Overcast. I've been trying a lot of podcast app in the past. I was relying on the podcast app from the iPhone itself or from Apple. And although it was good, I found it a bit confusing to find all of my stuff. And Overcast is an indie developer, very cool layout. What I really like about this app is, let me go in there and let's look at the Tyler Stallman one. Let's just go here and press play. And one very cool thing is that it has that smart speed, so it will accelerate and decelerate according to the pace of the host of the podcast, and you're actually saving so much time in the end, and it doesn't feel like a robot. It doesn't feel like it's a speedometer, or it's like speeded up. I don't know how he does it, but he has a really good algorithm in there. And the voice boost is just to equalize, you know, between a lot of podcasts. If you do listen to a lot of podcasts, as you know, they're not all created equal. Some of them sound better than the others. So that's why I really like this app. And I like the smart playlist, where you can actually create a smart playlist based on some different filters. So Overcast is my preferred app for podcast. Then Air Canada, as you know, I'm a frequent traveler. I travel a lot, and this is my preferred airline. I live in Canada. I guess they hooked me up on some points when I first started to travel, and since then I've never went back. And as you can see, I am going to Amsterdam shortly, and also I am going to Nashville. This should be very, very cool. So that app allows me to have my ticketing and all this great stuff. Messenger, again, mixed feelings about Facebook and their Messenger app. I still have a lot of friends on it, so I will continue using it, but I am debating if I should keep it on my home screen. Maybe it should go on the other screen. Pocket is my preferred app for saving stuff on the web. I think this is one of the most efficient ways to cross-platform and cross-devices. Find the stuff you like. You can actually tag and organize your favorites, and there's also recommendations. So I really, really like Pocket, and again, it's cross-device and cross-platform. So that's my home screen. And as I told you, I have some apps, you know, pretty standard apps that I use all the time, and this is, of course, the Mail app, and this is the native one. I tried Outlook. I kind of like it, but I prefer the native one. I have Safari, just went back to Safari. I was on Google Chrome like a lot of people, but I love the cleanness. I love the fact that this is so fast also on my Apple devices. Text, and also the schedule or the calendar. This is also the native one. On the second page, and this is where you see that I'm a bit of an app freak. I really like to test stuff, but let's start with the apps that are here, and then we'll go into the folders. The Watch app, I have an Apple Watch, and this is the first generation. I don't feel the need to upgrade. It does everything that I need and everything that I would wish of a watch. So maybe I'll look at the Apple Watch 4 series and see if it's worth upgrading. But right now, the Series 1 works perfectly. Reminder, I am actually very bad with like short-term memory, so I have a bunch of stuff here that I really rely on to basically keep track of everything I need to do. Notes, again, I've been trying so many notes apps. I've tried Evernote, I've tried everything in between Evernote and the Bears and all these great apps, but I always go back to the Notes app because it's the simplest one, and as you know, I like simple stuff. The Clock app, I mean, this is where I keep track because we are a global brand where I work at Stingray Music. I need to keep track of all the other offices, you know, in Amsterdam, in Sydney, in Tel Aviv, and this is very useful when trying to set up a meeting, as an example. Sonos, I am on Sonos. I have so many Sonos speakers at home. Just love the fact that it's Wi-Fi and it's very high quality. So very like the Sonos app, and also you relying on the integration with Spotify to send the music directly. You can also use Stingray Music, as I mentioned. Stingray Music is a very cool lean back experience, so it's right there, and you can send it to any of your Sonos speaker. So Audible, I don't have time to read proper books. I would love to read more, to read paper books, but what I do is that I do audiobooks. And this is where, you know, I'm reading 4 books, I think, or 3 books. Ego is the Enemy, really like this book. The Like Switch, I haven't started that one, and The Power of Habit. This is, I think, pretty popular books, but I'm just getting into these 3 books. Also Scannable, this is my preferred app to scan stuff. And this is an app that I rely on every day. So anytime I have some receipts or I need to scan a thing that I need to send via email, it actually scans it and enhances the blacks and the whites and makes it look like a real scan and not like an image. So I really like that. LastPass, if you don't have a password manager, I really encourage you to download one. There's OnePass and there's LastPass. I just happen to be using LastPass for the past several years, and I really like it. So this is gonna allow you to have very complex password, but only have to remember one to unlock all the others. So you should definitely try that. OneDrive, this is at work, we use Microsoft Office 365. So this is where we host all of our files. Zoom is a very efficient two-way video communication. This is just like your Google Hangout or your Cisco system, but that Zoom app is really, really efficient, really cool, and works all the time. I am an app and a setting freak, so I go all the time to, you know, adjust my brightness and to look up some other apps. So these are on my second screen. So this is my home screen and then my second screen. And if we go into the less important apps but very cool apps, I have a shop and sell here. This is where you'll find the Amazon, the Kijiji to sell stuff. Parcel, very cool app to track your delivery. So I had something delivered through FedEx, I think. So you get, you know, step by step on where your package is. And this is basically for all of the main carriers out there. I also have Google Photo. I think Google Photo is a very cool backup solution. If you want to back up your photos, it offers a backup for free photo system where they will back up a lower resolution of your photo, but it's still, yeah, I would say it's still workable if you want to share it through online or through email. But it is, again, I use it as an extra backup of my photos. PayPal, Lego is just like Kijiji. You can sell stuff very fast, at least here in Canada. Then you have the photo and video, lots of interesting stuff. Lightroom CC, I don't use that much. I have it because I use Adobe Lightroom on my computer. Lightroom CC, as a matter of fact. Focal Mark, if you are struggling with hashtag, you don't know what hashtag to use, Focal Mark will help you do just that. As an example, the last one I did is beach, Miami, and I'm shooting with a Fujifilm. And if you click generate, it will generate the hashtag for you, and you can then copy it and paste it to your photo. Very neat little Instagram helper here. 500px, very interesting photo network. DJI for my drone. Fujifilm because, hey, have you noticed I'm shooting Fujifilm cameras? Then I have a GoPro app because I do have a GoPro Hero Session 5. And I also have Visco here. Visco, when I'm on the go, is my preferred app to edit photos. Cut Story, if you need to cut a story to 15 seconds for Instagram, or you need to do another cut for another app, this will do it for you. Hyperlapse, I think this is one of the best. It's made by Instagram and by Facebook, but I think this is one of the best app to do some cool stuff like speed up things and do some cool, yeah. So here, very useful. Outlook. Like I said, I'm debating between Outlook and the main mail app on Apple, but I prefer, for now, the main one. But I do still have Outlook on there. OneNote, where I take my business notes. Teams, we are trying that at the office. It works. It kind of works. I mean, it's not Slack, but I kind of like it. Authenticator, because we have two-way authentication. Office Lens to scan stuff on whiteboards. This is very cool. My bank app and a calculator. Smart home, this is where it becomes really interesting because I am trying to convert my home to a very smart one. I do use Alexa as my main AI in the house. I am also using Google Wi-Fi. I have some security cameras. I know there's Nest in their Google system, but I wanted to go with something a little bit more open and a little bit less tied into the Google ecosystem. So I do recommend the Arlo system, and this is from Netgear. I have some Philips Hue lights. I have an alarm system, and I'm also using If This Then That, very cool app. If you don't know If This Then That, you should try it, to create some little recipe to automate a bunch of stuff. So really like this little app. So we go down, I have an app where I have all my Netflix and my Quello concerts stuff. I really like it because this is where I can unwind and basically sing some karaoke. This is another app that we own at Stingray and Quello too, so I really entice you to go discover that. Quello is a concert app where you can watch all the shows that you want, and this is basically, now there's a country music award playlist right there, and this is video. You have some Franz Ferdinand right there, Run the Jewels, Charles Barkley, so there is a video or a show for everyone. SoundCloud, pretty self-explanatory. Bose Connect, I do use the Quiet Bose, so the app gives you a couple extra features that you might be interested in. I really recommend you to download the Bose app if you do own Bose products. Shazam, Karaoke, Vero, I mean, it's still there. I don't know if I'll be using it. I did a podcast on it. If you're interested in listening to it, you can go on any other podcatcher, type in the Brand Experience Podcast, and tell me what you think about Vero. Okay, so travel. I travel a lot. Like I said, every 2 to 3 weeks I am on a plane and in another country or in another location. So I rely on these apps very frequently. And this is SPG for the hotels, Airbnb, self-explanatory, Booking.com. Really like the fact that you can get some pretty sweet deals there. This is a parking app here in Quebec. Lyft, like I said, there's some countries that are using Lyft. I actually prefer Lyft than Uber. I don't want to start a war, but I prefer the app, the Lyft app. Hopper gives you the pricing or the targeted pricing or the trajectory of the pricing for the plane tickets. Really cool. And these are either airlines or also hotel apps. Okay, wow, I have so many apps. So this is the read section. This is where I rely on some apps to keep informed. And this is CNN, this is La Presse, this is our local newspaper. Flipboard, I really like the look and feel of Flipboard. And Medium, where you can see posts from anyone you would like to follow, and also iBooks, where I have a bunch of magazines that I read often, like FUJI Love, you guys are good. I am always reading the FUJI Love magazine when it's out. Okay, so a couple other important ones. Eat and drink. These are two things that I really like to do. I really like to eat and drink. So I have a wine app. This is the local Quebec one. I also have Delectable. If you are into wine, I really encourage you to download Delectable, because you'll have some actual ratings from the pros and also ratings from regular people. So you can actually, discover some pretty cool wines in there. And there's an example where the pros the regular people have rated it 9.1. And if you go here, you have a 9.2 from a pro and 9.1 from regular people. So again, very cool, a little wine app. It's like a social network for wine. Yelp and Uber Eats, again, very self-explanatory. Starbucks and OpenTable. In the Apple, there's just a bunch of Apple crap here. I mean, it's not all crap, but I don't use these apps very often. I used to be an Apple Music subscriber. Now I prefer Stingray Music, and I also prefer Spotify when it comes to on-demand. Health, I am investing in my health, so I am going to be using these apps a lot more. This is the activity tracker, the health app on Apple, and also I just learned about this cardiogram app, so I will be discovering that and maybe do a review if it's good. In the communication tab, I have Slack, Hangout, WhatsApp, FaceTime, Skype, and Hip Hop. This is the school where my daughter is going, and this is one way to communicate with them. So if you are wondering if in 2018 we have too many ways to communicate, here's your answer. This is my Communicate tab. And then the last one is my Cloud app. I wish this file system was working as expected. I am trying to use it, but to be honest, it's just most of the time easier to just go into the the Dropbox app or the Google Drive app. And like I showed you, I also have the OneDrive app. That is it, guys. These are all the apps that I have on my phone. If you have any questions about these apps or about apps that should be on my phone, or if you think I'm crazy having all these apps on one phone, please leave a comment down below. I've been Fred Ranger. Enjoy life, be happy, and enjoy your apps. Cheers.